Okay, so what are we going to do today? Well, basically we're going to learn to put a grid over a photograph using Photopea. First things, I've actually put the grid in your assignments file. So if you look down there, you can see in assignments, you'll see the introduction, or the title, the introduction, and then the grid. That's the JPEG there with the grid in it. And then the one below is the link to the actual Photopea website. So first of all, click the three little buttons there, get the option to download, and then that should download it to your download files in your computer. Next thing, if you then click on the link, this should take you to Photopea. So magically will now open up in your web browser Photopea. Then go to open, find the grid image. Don't worry, it's not coming up on the screen here, I think it's almost invisible. So I found the grid and load it up. Okay, I'm going to go up to File now and click New. Where it's highlighted blue, I could put in the name of the person I want to do, like Bruce Lee. Go down, you can see Social and Print. I've highlighted Print, and I'm going to select A4. That's going to be my A4 piece of paper that I've created there. There it is. Just above, you'll notice, you can see it's Grid PSD and New Profile. I'm going over to Grid, and you can see I've gone there and selected the whole page, and then edit and copied it. Go back to the New Project tab, and I'm going to paste it over the top. So now I've created two layers, the background and the layer with the grid on. Okay, let's find the picture I want to do now. So I'm going to choose Bruce Lee as the person I want to draw. Of course, you can go off and pick whoever you want to. So it'll take me a little while now to select the right picture for me. And when I've selected it, what I'm going to do is click on it first, once, there we go, and then hover over it and click, right click, copy image. Not sure why it doesn't show up on this. Once I've done that, I'm going to go back to Photopea and edit. Make sure I'm on the arrow tool, by the way. Edit, paste. You can see it's coming a bit small now. So what I'm going to do is go down to Edit, Transform, Scale. And notice here, if I press the Shift button and drag it, it keeps it all nicely in proportion. But if I was to forget to use the Shift button, there you go, it distorts it. Okay, so I'm just going to undo what I've done. Go up to Edit, down to Transform, Scale. Remember to keep my finger on the Shift button as I drag it, and then drag it to fill the page. Just move it over now so it's sort of more central in the page, and then double click to tell the picture that I've decided that's the right size for me. Now the next thing to know is we've lost the grid. But if you look over to the layers, you can see there's my Bruce Lee picture in layer 2, and layer 1 has the grid on it, and then there's the background. So what I've done there is I've moved the layer 1 above layer 2. So the grid now is in front of the picture of Bruce Lee. Moving down to about the third tool down, you can see object selection. I've gone down to, kept my finger on it and clicked magic wand. Then gone over, selected the first area of the grid, and a delete button or backspace button. I continue doing that. Just tap it on the white spaces, backspace, and it deletes the white selected area but leaves the grid intact. And there we go. You can see now I've got my grid over the face. Now deselect that, so go to select, deselect. It removes all the selected areas. And now let's save this image. So go to File. Oh, first of all, we need to go onto Layer and go right to the bottom and flatten image. And that removes all the layers and makes it able to save it as a JPEG. So go down, rather than it save, I'm going to go to Export and click JPEG. This gives us a little example of how good the quality is, and I'm okay with that, so I'm going to click on the save there. Okay, and that saves it to your download pile or your documents. We'll give you a little cue of where that is now. Okay, I think that's done. Well, good luck with that process. Now on to drawing our grid. bit more traditional now. We've got our pen and paper. Now I've got an A3 pad in front of me. So quite quickly, you're going to forgive me, you should just have an A4 piece of paper in front of you. But if you are working on A3 and you want to do an A4 drawing on it, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose a line there and I'm going to just draw a vertical line down. 90-degree angle as best I can. So I'm putting the flat edge of my ruler on the flat edge of the page and I'm drawing a line straight down. And I'm now going to move across and measure across 21, because an A4 piece of paper is 21 across by 29.7. So there you go, I've just moved further up, done two little marks, and I've joined them up. Please remember to do that. You can't just make one mark and draw the line up. You have to make a parallel line. So at the bottom, measure across 21, at the top of the page, measure across 24, and join those two dots up. The next thing to remember here is that our picture, the grid was 4 grids across, or 4 squares across. These have to be squares. So I'm going to break this down here, and I'm doing a quick measurement, so I'm going to do 5 centimeters. Now this doesn't go completely into 21. You'll see it's 5, 10, 15, 20, 1 centimeter, which I'm not going to use. But if you remember our grid, there was a gap on the side which we didn't use either. So to go back over it again, I put the ruler up there. I measure 5 and 10, 15 and 20, leaving a 1 centimeter gap at the end. Going halfway down the page and I'm doing the same. 5, 10, 15, 20. And I'll do it at the bottom as well, just to make sure that the line is a straight parallel line going down. So 5, 10, 15, 20. Now look at this, guys. I'm doing it measuring 3 dots and then joining the dots up. If I'm doing it, you should do it. Now with you at this point, I'm pressed very lightly, super lightly. I'm not, just so you can see the lines on my from my drawing later. But when you do it, press so lightly that only you can see it. Remember, the grid isn't part of the drawing. It's a guide to help us draw it more accurately. So there you go. I'm just joining the dots up. Joining the bottom one to the middle one and the middle one to the top one. Okay, and we're going to do the same down the side. Put the ruler right at the top of the page and then just measure 5, 10, 15. Take your time, make sure it's accurate. 20, 25. And the bottom then takes us pretty much to the bottom of the page, which is near enough to be 30. Okay, it's 29.7 if you've got an A4 page. And then go to the opposite side. You don't have to go to the whole side of the page, just to that last line across down the page. And of course, 5, 10. Try and make your measurements as accurate as possible. Draw a line out from the number rather than a little up and down line, so it's across. And then join them up, dot to dot. So we'll create parallel lines, they'll be much more accurate. Can't stress it enough, press very lightly. Your lines are guides, not actually part of the drawing. You don't really want anybody else to see that you've used the grid up method, you just want to use it because it's going to help with the accuracy of your drawing. Okay, so very fine lines drawn across. And there you have, there's the grid. Okay, I'm just going to reinforce this line so you can see it for when we do come to draw. Okay, that's quite enough for today. So what I want you to do is to go select the person you want to draw. Go and get the image, put it onto Photopea, put the grid over the top of it, delete the spaces, so you've got your photograph in a grid. And then you're going to draw on a piece of paper the grid with the same ratio. Won't be the same size, but the same ratio. Okay, good luck guys, and well, in the following lesson we're going to draw out the grid step by step. But I think this is enough for today. So